Okay.
Is that everyone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Today, guys?
Yeah, today we both people didn't arrive. Because it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah, that's it.
Was it? Okay. Yeah, just the some.
So first of all, hello to everyone.
Tsering also Lam-Rim. That is subject the engineer subject called chapter
Scholarly is that?
English. I don't know.
Then gonna study did.
Yeah,
Yes, so now so now in the Lam-Rim, which is the text that we're studying, we have arrived in the subject how to listen and how to talk about the Dharma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got the another cousin Chechunro Chechuni Gani Chu Nyambalayang and Chechunito and Chu Shengi Monea and Chechunro needs somewhere.
So we're going to talk about how there are two main characteristics, right?
Yeah.
Characteristics of the person who is listening to explanations or to teachings, and the person who is explaining the teachings.
Yeah. That in the Tambo Chunian Gatling, Chunian Tanta, Chechuni, Nigores, need countries on there. Nyambalaya, Nyambi Payans, Chicha, and a Nyambi Kabaya, Chikulondo Carcoris.
So regarding talking first about the person who's going to listen, so we talk usually in two ways. We say about two characteristics or two divisions. The first one is going to be thinking about the benefits of listening and the motivation you need to have when listening.
Yeah, the name be Kablea, and a pains in the and the goblin delia, Lam-Rim the corona chooses, and you name be pains. You know, they choose it, and then I'm doing also should give us here, give out on the quasi shoot. The round the coma goa. The round the quay, could show it in my judgment. And the she just some other quay in choice.
So when we're talking here about while we're listening to the Dharma, we say the Dharma. So we think about the benefits of listening to the Dharma. The Dharma we can understand as the Lam-Rim, the text that we're studying, which is usually related to virtuous things or to negativities of the mind. But also, this term in Tibetan Dharma, it has many meanings. And we can also understand in a bigger understanding, which is all phenomena. Dharma also has the meaning of all things that we can know, everything. We can also understand as the Dharma.
Yeah. And that, when it Jachimbola Salotana, Mazo, which is also love center. So, Kara, younger than a D, and a Nimbala, Baja Chores, in some sit under shoes and give a chambala maima.
So if we don't think about this Dharma here in the sense of just the Lam-Rim, just this smaller scope, we can think about any topic, any class, any lesson that we go to. We can also think as this being learning the Dharma, any topic that we care to learn in the world.
Yeah, that on the caressing day. That's so good. Any counter chick and the chucho in under that chucho my bit. You think not younger Canadishina. Ani Shambala Teni Niena, Shambala Niena, Titonda Yapo Shigre as a desatambo cron de Shichikeres.
So the meaning here that of this is, even if we think about in terms of the Dharma in the more religious sense, or we think about in any other topic that we can learn, the main point here is that he's talking about the importance on relying on other people in order for us to be able to get this education, this information. Yeah. So the importance on relying on other people.
다딘디 샴바 달라 니나 펜 요바데 다 아니 동바랑기 담베 춤세 지나마 아니 데신 신드 송샤요레 신시카.
So about the benefits of listening, there's a quotation here from the Buddha himself, which he separates into four points, main points about listening.
뭐 담보데 다게 강르시와 나시레 아니 투바디 가레나 저런 게 시토그레스 투바라 펜 가레여는데 저런 거 마시야 뭐 시야 펜도 용거레스.
So the first one is very simple here. The first one says, through listening, you can know the phenomenon. So whatever you want to know about, if you listen about it, then you can know about it. Very simple.
니바데 아니 님바데 가르펜 도그레스 딜리 도버치그레스 단디 디그바시야 들리요. 직 디바다 게와다 디바니 디바체 캡충하치나 캡체하치나 아니 다직 소소가 자와 컨디션나 데당 만선바 샴바르데 독토에세 인지 그니고야 그래서.
And then the second one is going to be, after having listened and understood about whatever you're learning, then you can avoid the wrongdoing, or you can avoid the negativities. So here also we can understand in two ways. The first one is in relation to, for example, virtues, in relation to the more religious sense. And the second one would be avoiding anything that is not in accordance with the actions that you want to do. Yeah, in the more general sense.
Yeah, 벤존도 샤나 아니 베나니 딜리 도버치그레스 온데 캡충을 강시나 베나치 소소 게바드야 베나다치 근로 야보관 곰자ян도다 직 진디의 직 근로 상보관 남지 엔지 게사랑을 줘야 그 간도 쳐요나 텔레 퍼치치바 진디의 도청도 치나 아니 디 캡충을 그 딜리야 도버치바스 온데 캡충을 도토레스.
So for example, if we take the small scope of this understanding of these negativities that we can avoid through listening. So the small one would be thinking the more standard way. So with a good motivation, we want to engage in a virtuous action, and anything that becomes an obstacle to engage in this virtuous action is understood as a negativity.
니바도 있나 아니 자체산이 살로다나 베나 벤존도 들이잖아. 다 소소가 직 아니 다치로 용도 양나게 다들이 진짜 찍을래 뎁티 로커 인세 진짜 찍으라는 게 야고 로고레선 삼로 된도시 된다고시야 아니 찍고는 생각 된다고 제일까블이야 디 샴바시 아니 제 샴바시 소소 조고 게당쇼레 가린 난 점점도야도 된대잖아 아니 가르쳐그래서 다기 소소 그때 로야 진짜 찍을지 되네 같이 찍도 되는데 딘디가
So another understanding, and if we go to the more vast understanding of what's being explained here as negativities, we can understand through an example. Let's say that you have decided to study today or to read a book for 1 hour, and you really made this compromise with yourself, you made this promise with yourself. But then because of something happens, maybe, let's say, for example, a friend calls you on WhatsApp and he says, hey, let's go to Snow Lion, or let's go for a walk. And then this, even though it's not a negativity per se to go to Snow Lion, this can become an understanding of negativity because it becomes an obstacle to any other action that you have decided to do beforehand.
야야 두바데 딘디기 다시 간다는 소소 아니 자와 쳐고야다 야 자와텔라 뚜니 직지 마로마세는 간터 테 바저 야 빅바레스 같이 쉬고 말이 난다 빠치치 딘디 남샤스 투바야 보여나요 소소 딘디 예 빠친도 수양 아니 도야를 벤도인 그레스 돈도디 티르다.
So the meaning is that if there's an action that you need to do, the obstacle might not be a negativity per se. It can be other things, but because it becomes an obstacle to the action that you have decided to do, then you can understand as a negativity that you're going to avoid if you rely on listening.
야, 드니 지 다투바드 양 벤토카라 용거레스야 되가서 다시 돈다 더 많이 방세 돈다 더 많이 봐세 돈다 대 다시 문이 두고야 가르셔 두고야 가르셔세 돈다 대 김구천이 고 아직 소소 안에 펜토야 대 가르셔 펜먼토야 가르셔세 딘디가 남샤데 야 망보 투나 소소 딘디 가는 남샤데 다다 지시를 펜토그레스 돈바 소에 선바티 티레스
So the third thing that that Buddha has said in this quotation, the third benefit of listening is to abandon what's meaningless. So what means this? So meaningless would be if you listen many times, through listening you can understand what needs to be achieved, what doesn't need to be achieved, what needs to be practiced, what doesn't need to be practiced. What is beneficial for you, what is not beneficial for you, and through understanding this, then you have the tools to abandon whatever you consider to be meaningless that you have asserted because of listening.
다 지바데 가르세는 다 투바디 투바야고 요나 직 다 냥안인데 바토세야 돼 다지 냥안인데 바 타마 타르티가 텔레자 이거래 텔레야 아니 직 타르티바데야 중요해 뭐리야 아니 직 가르서 름바리지 마소나 고 냥에 참마 냠데 방토야 이거 말에 고 스텝 바이 스텝 도고라 고 름비름빈 도고인데 인디 참마데 투바야 보여나 아니 소소게 건 남자야 보 아니 직 디름 바딘 로토 그래서 타마디 됐어요스
And the fourth one would be through listening you can achieve nirvana. So nirvana here has this understanding of the last achievement of nirvana. Nirvana would be the cessation of all sufferings. But before the cessation of sufferings doesn't happen all of a sudden. It doesn't happen in one single moment. So it's something that happens step by step. So through listening, you can step by step go eliminating your sufferings. That's the meaning.
다또야 돈도로 수치드나 단다 두이 정근하네요. 그래서 요새데 만투 만보 라투 만다 투세시 직직 손요. 디 돈다 가르세나 돈다 만보 투고 그래스 다직 샴바산이 고고 그래스 대야 샴바 만보실레 산이 코나 야요레스 아니야 곧 고야 돼야 테마 직스마인 바 이안이 양데 아니 코나 다 카르펜토레스 수수기 다직 다기 강나시 아니 카르소르 텐데 겐센서고라 강나시 자에 단다 펜도 손자 되서래야
And also from one of the sutras, it has a passage that says, you need to listen many times, you need to listen from many teachers, and you need to listen to this many times. So the meaning is, you have to listen to a topic many times, or to many topics, actually. You have to listen to many topics. You have to rely on many teachers, and also each topic you have not listened just one time, but also listen many times. And then in this way, the benefits of listening that were the 4 benefits that we talked about can happen.
Yeah, that don't let the country days on the thing as well. General, Mamma current and Gayor. And it the chick so yeah, the mambushing of so that's Nagendo Chimbucha. So chick begin so Karsuta, Lonze Chetaba Chikana, Ding on them and Kepainsus. Ding is Jambasan Jango me, Ding is she of some good. Tindu also turn on the rushing door.
So this advice, what comes to our mind? What's the purpose of this advice for us? So many people, they're prone to have a pride, especially when they think when they are good in whatever they know about, they know a lot about this. So it can come the thought that you don't need anymore to rely on other people. You don't need to rely on teachers.
Yeah, Jetani Tachik Misusuzone, Shelebando, so chip in the Kainanda, Lob Joinanda, and the Muxiva Tindigonia, so Jim Guchen Kiparis. Ina Teleganas in a Twishert, the Yakshooting I in some Logiona, Tati Nora Resi, Tantati Tantati Sumbiorta.
And also, yeah, of course, we can be specialists in our field, in anything that we have studied and we have practiced. But to think that we are the highest, that is a mistake. The highest in the world, that's a mistake.
Deondi, Tonda Karasan, Suso Jansha, Suso, Nyam Yosha, Gina, Tanda Mishamba Sani, Yang Churti Gonglia, Kwana, Ane Yanchi Mishamba Shetan Mandra, Yung Sigre, Nyam Mandra, Yung Sigre, Yang Chik Kasurta, Ane Suso, Ane Lojon Chevi, Jurumde, Lojon Chesaga, Ane Kori Segura. Then Mandra Yori, Mandra Yon the Tiu Wangi, and Yon Pasho di Sanix. Chikarsuti, Susolosi Chatapati Gonia, Tata Mandra, or Dindi Gonia, Samata Yosum, Pemombochi Yoris.
And the meaning is, even if you are a specialist in this field, even if you already have a lot of education, because different people, they have different experiences, different people have different education. So if you go to listen to someone else, if you talk to someone else and you listen to someone else, then this person is going to have a different way of talking about it. He's going to have a different way of thinking about it because of his different background, different experiences. So because of this, even then, you still have something to learn from this person.
Yeah. And it's a good question.
We just had a discussion last week where I was told you should find one teacher, one good guru, and only listen to him. I more have the feeling what he just said makes more sense.
Yes.
But what is this idea like with only following one teacher?
Yeah. But you don't need Danda Anne Chiromachalama Tsungomadena, Gagan Nicolia, Zailama Korangi, into a Ganging of Yasios more.
Salama.
Yes. Tadi Korangi Korantaharan, Zailamaran, Susutin Togoyana, Kazimana, the Junkayo Mar Susum. The Miss Susel Rally,
Miss
Susel Rally. Kazi Susumani, because Sheni Tendang de and Yon Toyana, Kazimana, Joyumares. It's a Lama Kazimana.
Katsemona.
Ani Kepemato Joyumares. Again, say yours.
Yeah, so usually, for example, we have the example here of Lama Tsongkhapa, the one that wrote this book. He had root lamas, root gurus. He had over 500 root gurus. But this is also something that is going to depend on the personality or on the aspirations of the students. So it can be also understood as a personal choice.
Yeah.
But if you rely on many different teachers, there is no mistake in this.
Ta ina chikarersena. Ta kasi ta ngasu namasungama naji ngasu tsama gitini chetogoresena. Ti ta chetoya ta chipa chetogore lamna kaporwa ta chipa. Ta ganshik chetonga yosigare. Ti tsama chetogumare layo. Ta ina kareresena. Ani soso ani lama disani chunye soso disani lobjonche. The Chevat Samsik Lama Rangan Dishi shall going by your mare. Could begin to watch it, you get a gift of John Chair, Chetangrumbachi or his.
Yeah. And also, there is the question if all of us can do just like Lama Tsongkhapa, and it's hard to assert, and that we all have to do just like Lama Tsongkhapa, because not all of us are going to be able to do just like him. And also another point to be considered is that just because you're getting teachings of a teacher, just because you're listening to him and you're following him, it doesn't mean that it has been established the relationship of a root lama or a root guru. So there's a difference in stages or rankings to determine whether someone is your root guru or just a teacher.
Yeah. That career is in a pena any division ya. Because some mamma get chongus. So good one you can tell ya. As a tencho Geshe Omari. Good game 1 year, no man attaches. No money, good can attach. Lo mambo attaches. Tamat tangani. The chick susu chonigani achicheni. Then to do some such lama money korangi. The damga money summer. The komani kolishina korangi tanta yonsaris. Till it. Any good looking money in the the chick lamante marangi. Let's say lama when it tensiona. And non tritani, but do some good. Didn't touch a chair and Jeremias. The only thing I'm search. Say Lamate de Jawata Chet in Digimaris.
And also there is also a quotation in a sutra, and yesterday a few days ago maybe, someone talked to me about this too. So to consider someone your teacher, here you're talking about the root guru. It's not something easy, not something to be done in a superficial manner. So it said that you need to analyze, you need to have an analysis on both parties. So the teacher, the root lama is analyzing you, the teacher is analyzing you, you are analyzing the teacher for many, many years. And if you determine that everything, all the advices, everything that he says is good, it's beneficial for you, it fits your mind, then it's not mistaken to, okay, I'm going to rely on this teacher. After you have gone through all these years of analysis, it's not something instantaneous, not something quick, not something to be done quick, but this establishment of this relationship of a root guru.
Yeah, Tandodana and so touch lamas in the drug against this and the young che Johnny. That's also when a pentok touch counter this and young. Tindig Katseji Rai, Tindig Sosalia, Pentoyana, and so timidity, Zawachimbuda. So many Katsig Zawachim Sutton till Kepe Mato, and a chick Tilia, Chisosoli, Jun Yosha, Kaimari. So Cosani Logonda, Karina, or Ragayona, and so many Zawachim, so many Tilia Kishepta, the Say Lama Misi Chikache Mena, Society Kishaptan, Katsig Societia, Kishaptan, any telemate is arching with certain social Kepsamato, socially Kenga, you see Maris.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so in brief here it's saying that how much is an additional rights?
Yeah.
Then briefing is saying that if you rely on a teacher, if it's a beneficial relationship, then you're going to have only profit and no losses.
Yeah,
I forgot some things like this.
So the any Kishapta, so with me, Savachimu, so Pendochimuya, did you see? So the Kishapche, Commissioner. So campaign Goremato, any
so actually in brief here what's saying is that the importance of, after having recognized a teacher like this, so there's benefit in recognizing and seeing how precious this relationship is, or how precious the teacher is. And if you see this as a precious thing, then it's only profits and only benefits and no losses for you. So consider this to be a precious thing, the teacher.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that content is only two bus at the pain the shit. Two bus at the pain day, the gone shit there to cheer. Two bus did so good. And then Pento days in a contact to Mambo Chona, Carpento as on day, and then the Labasum Nyamlindi, and it touch Zawade, and it touch so Jelay, Labasum Nyamley album to race on that is.
So also we talked about the benefits of listening, and what are the results in a way of listening. So after you have listened many times and you have establish this foundation through listening, then you give rise to the three trainings. So the three trainings, which the roots of the three trainings is going to be ethics or morality.
Yeah, 아니 저 제동 라버슴 제디 냠레 제고나다 라버슴 그티 로종 방그런다데 나비 이타치 뺏자 좀 쇼시 쇼치니 에너지 쇼 참을 돈다데 있음거나 시디샤네요 두두그레스.
So usually these three trainings, they are considered to be very precious in the Buddhist philosophy, and we can even say that the meaning of all the Buddhist path, of all the Buddhist scriptures, they can be condensed into these three trainings of ethics, morality, concentration, and wisdom.
Yeah. 다데 간데 연구해서 하는데 당보 다기 강는 노신게 지금 남아래 그 게레들이 뭐 산이 소소 제 초야 맞춰야 남샤 mambo ko dena da soina ni chi lida nga 진지 내가 요즘 아니 joba tense joba 아니 주점 그 남자한테 예 소소 단데 제 좋아한데 지난 지금 주점 그 남자한테 소소 주점 소야라 벤토인 그랬어.
Yeah, so first would be you attend your teacher many times, and he's going to be telling you what to do, what not to do, how to think, how not to think. And when it becomes something that you get some habit with this, then you can apply yourself to the training of ethics. Then you know what you have to do, what you don't need to do. Then you can start to have this foundation of ethics, the first of the three trainings.
이거 직관되어서나 돈배 산지 가르면 소리만이 직제 처음에 쪽 팀으로 쓰는다 컨트롤 아니 대 가르강래 샤이브레스 나 출레당 나 텔레야니 만다와 딘디 제나 쪽으로 조금 말해서 팀으로 송요레스 얘는 이 세티강래 이 문자디와 말해서
But the Buddha, in the time of the Buddha, he set some rules for us. But from our three doors, from our mind, body, and speech, he set rules just for the body and the mind. So there are rules for the body and the mind of how to act, how not to act, but he didn't set any rules for the mind.
다 이해가
The sense of balance, yes.
야 이해가 강래온데 다 냠래 제단 그런 방법 송셔야 그래서 냠래 제는 소소야 아니 저 토마토세 테레마토 제 사람들이 고쳐 말해 제 사람들이 버탄 거기서
Of course, he gave many practices. He said how you have to think, and if you think like this, you can develop this mind, and it's going to be beneficial, etc. But he didn't set rules in the sense like this thought you shouldn't think this thought. This thought is forbidden for you. He didn't do this. Yeah.
You just translated the thing different twice. One time you said he didn't give rules about speech, and one time he didn't give rules about mind.
Sorry, I meant just the mind.
Okay.
He gave rules about the body and speech, and he didn't set rules in the sense you cannot think this thought, you cannot, it's forbidden to have this thought about the mind. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
야 언데다 아니 수좀 지야들 제동데 리다나 이거 거니 소소 수좀 좀더 스미용 거레스 이나 당보니데 상제나 아니 근데 제나세 팀도 쓰는다 컨택트니 나오셔서 타마디 소소티 냠는 체니 컨택트 전화마다 상제 근데 딱이 간수 간주 주차이 모델로 그래
가만하디 그렇지.
아마 이거 여기 좀 써야 돼. 이 장의 이 강의 가르 제 얘기 강의 사울로 땅땅 뒷바 만뒷바데 소소의 심바 장이 되지에 마도 샴바지게 절대 제 총무제 같은 생각 말이야.
Yeah, so regarding this first training of the three trainings on ethics, so the Buddha gave us this tool of the vows and how to act. So some things are forbidden to do with our body, with our speech. But regarding the mind, so according to our practice, then we can realize how we are supposed to think or how we're not supposed to think. But it's not up to someone else to tell us you're forbidden to think this, you cannot think this. So this depends much more on us. Keeping the ethics of the mind. Because the ethics also divide in mind, speech, and body. You also have the ethics of mind. Right?
다 되니 추점세야돼 리당아 예수님 그 추점세야돼 가시요나 티 가려서 가서 세미나에 아니 진리 그 제탄 그 채널에 같이 시했던 그 채널이나 네 아니 직당 용서가 저 컨터 이렇게 천년 보시고 시버리스 티에 진짜 티그레스 자 라바섬 그는 그 진짜 티 추점나 봐 그런 강반이 좀 와서나 이렇게 시대 망시
So if we have this foundation of ethics, both in our mind, our speech, and our body, it acts like a foundation to our actions. And all our actions, they're going to be very equanimous. They're going to be neutral in a way, but also very, very kind and very gentle, very, very equanimous. Easy to build something on top of it. You know.
Kacheshina tina zunzea rawata yang chuk support or maiba. Missina kachala nye nyong trouble tindig not the goni play. Not the chutum yaho yong michina. And michil kacheshina me mambo yenke yonkure ti goni chi. Michil pento chena me mambo pento kachakaran pento mambo chitu place.
So for example, if someone has this ethics, this training of ethics, so to whomever he's going to talk to, he's going to talk in the same way, in a way that is beneficial, that is, he's not going to lie to someone and say something to another one. He's not going to have a very like hard to the ears, something that's going to hurt the other person. So to everyone, he's going to have this equanimous way of talking, to everyone in a similar way and in a beneficial way.
Yeah, Ganta Tati ni chutam de jitsachi. Tate ko ani ko jitsa tindri yahoshi yona ya. Tate gangle pena shinka de shinka pe ni chung yahoshi yona. Ti gangle chi lotot tab go ba. Yona chi so karton je tab yona na shumlo tab yona counter. Shinga na le chi ani chundri ni ya chi ke go ba. Counter tindo ni shinde yahoshi yona ta kargo brese. Tade cargone, tade ganglia, tengin zingila basi, tengin zindi nipat kogi, tengin zing carpentores. So son savla pen, and so leka carlena, chip ganglia, simpa, tempo netai, but the tengin at the picture cigarettes.
So on top of this foundation, let's imagine your ethics, for example, as a field in a farm. So after we have prepared the field, we have made it very even, we have made it without any obstacles, without any dirt that shouldn't be there. And then we have to do something. The work is not finished just with ethics. So on top of this field, we need to plant something. So what should we plant here? The seed here that we're going to plant is the concentration. This is second training. And concentration is what's going to bring us the capacity to let's say, in any job that we do, in any work, in any activity that we engage, we can keep our mind in that. Our mind is stable and it's firm, and you can trust our mind to stay with that topic as we engage in the activity.
Semban trick de call leka ni chekanto. Leka chekanto the leka di kong samlo ne matoya. Semban trick de walking as a foundation. Chutum sempe nyembo yose tricksar. Trick sanati gone leka chekanto. Nana so lob jong chena. Di gong semba teto to us. Ate karchina jitsa tricksati nipati tangins in there di gong want to.
Sometimes we can have the experience if we can identify that sometimes our mind gets agitated and we go to engage in any activity and we cannot do it properly, we're very distracted. And many times it's because this foundation, actually the foundation of ethics, is shaking in a way. This foundation is not stable, and therefore the second one, the plant here, which would be concentration, also shakes and you also lose concentration.
Yeah. And it's a temporary loss. I'm not young, she and another jump to cheer in the counter carrying a yaput on the own 2 minutes. You're going to send about them matter. 남자 semba shamba shondra
Mm.
the karche tambo tangin kars sutam jilapa tu sutam
Yeah. And this in any job, for example, let's say a writer, many times a writer is writing and he cannot really keep doing the job very concentrated. Very easily his mind just goes somewhere else, somewhere else, somewhere else. That is because actually many times his ethics, his morality, his foundation is actually agitated. It's not stable.
다 가르에서는 다 tambo shitsa te yakboyo chasha
So the thing is first keep this foundation good.
다 니바 tangin zada pe so karena te kauna pe semba tsechi te toa yamba chasha
And then you give rise to this concentration that can keep you focused in one activity, in one object.
다 드니 samyo는 디크레베스 다 티와레 틴 디크레베스 온데 아니 다티 sam고 제나 인도 두다멘두 다가라 테 samyo나 디크레 디크마레세
And
다
then,
티와레
and then
그레스
we can think, we can get the question. So if we have this, we have this training in ethics and concentration. Okay, is that okay? Is that enough for us?
어때 sam고 단지코면도 다 가르고레스 시럽스 여기 이 강래야 아니 셈바도 이나 등인스페 템보시나 다 디념디야 아니 집어친기 여기 되게 가르쳤다 지금 남자 참아 따따따따 딩딩서고 이게 집어치 등기 아니 로션바시스는다 제리 샴바시 아지도 이 시럽스
So no, it's not enough. It's not okay. So with this concentration, then we can give rise to the third training. So which is going to be wisdom. So as we're being concentrated in one topic that we're studying, that we're looking at, to go deeper into this topic, we have to analyze it, and we need to develop our capacity of analyzing things, and using this function of wisdom, then we can actually go deep into the understanding of a topic or an object.
나마서 sarkayo bicycle shun drona tambo kargore salanga ya pishkore kun to sesh it chudum do satri tati gone dre la tambo masukana hakore tambo jang ikavla hakore be semba shote gondo semba shu maten rido okay so constant samlo pe manen rido do rido Adeng yapo teton paritata langa yapo yo. En so samlo ten intro to yana. Taran samlo de ten intro dena. Intro yore omare. Tete samgo to come to. En shita yang ta cargore kote because semba the thing like neto kanshila nyamde shirabiona ani cho yapo jangda na yaba ta cho koi sama tungure. Ta chungani to the shini grace.
So for example, let's say an example that you're riding a bike. So what's the first thing that we need when we're riding a bike? So we need a street, and the street needs to be not like so much in McLaughlin, needs to be straight, it needs to be good to ride a bike. So that's the first thing. That would be ethics. That's the foundation. And then also we need to be stable. We need to keep the bicycle stable. So we also have to have a stable mind. This would be concentration, what allows us to be balanced on the bike. And only this, and then the role of wisdom here would be allowing us to not only go forward, not only go in one direction. Wisdom allows us to look into the environment, allow us to look around, see where we want to go, and then we can turn, and etc.
Yeah.
That's the role of wisdom.
Taina tambo jangi kabla okay my second do tambo jangi kabla asu shira peche tangachina tutobre tambo jangi kabla
Yeah.
tambo very beginning just forgot okay the condition to the tawore so chik the kang ya bo chin to de
Yeah.
e jangdar ya bo ma thing kang ni phas ta kan na ri
Yeah.
mo den do tambo thing sin tempo ko gres tini shini shira tempo so.
And in the same way, when I don't know if you remember when you were starting to learn how to ride a bike, you cannot start riding a bike and already turn here, turn there, and you're looking everywhere. You cannot do like this. The first thing you do is you look to the front and you get into the bike and you try to ride the bike in one direction. So that is why the training and concentration comes first. Because first you need to just go in one direction, and then you can learn how to look other places.
Yeah, the Kososolia, Jander is Jander Tunsangena, Taki Seversion, Shere, Koran, and they pass Taki, Nil and Rotueshto. Then you got a Kunika Yonsar, I love young, John the Tepsar training already. Chatsana, and pass the Taki, Tagaran, Jote, Karchere, Tanginze, yo, Tanginzikitsote, yo. Shit up there, and you got it.
And when the training is finished, then you can have the two of them together, concentration and wisdom, and then you can ride anywhere you want.
Yeah. Tadi very bad. Ta car going also. So Tandandi Tambo lit and outche. Then it Tamal car gone pub gory, and to Yichigan. Samlo gone. Tambo ne, Samlo Tanium set, Pikichum Suri. Simba, Samlo now. And that thing also pain was shit.
Yes.
That's Samlo gone, Tambo Carabore, Tambo, Sim. And the chicken, Tango to Jill and let the legal Lam-Rim, Sim Young Color, Tambo was a Tanium Singer. Tea chip. That the Tanium said, Carrazum. Why is Manjo? Okay, some chunium that. So Samlo gone. No, you just system to which I got that's the system to which I got. System done don't know to it. Then the Gongatang as a carboni. Then the means. Then he shear up the sota, Samlo gone. And then the Samlo is just that on boy of boys where. Then it means and then he shear up. The Samlo gone at the
So thinking about the order of the training here would be first giving attention to the ethics of body and speech. And then on top of this, we can have what we can call the equanimity of mind. So later in the Lam-Rim, we're also going to learn about the equanimity. And this it's very closely related to the ethics of the mind ethics. And having this very plain grounds, then we can start training concentration and then wisdom, and that's the order that it goes.
Oh, teacher.
I have a bunch of questions. About his bicycle story. Let's say we live at a place in Dharamsala where it's impossible to find the even street. Or like in a more realistic example, for example, know people that have like depression, mental issues, they're really not balanced, but they want to start in Buddhism. And I have discussions with people that I said maybe it's better to first go to therapy before you try to read Nagarjuna, something like this. What would be the advice? Can we still already start with Buddhism, or should we like better say like don't do it before you don't find the ethical thing? And yeah, I asked the other question.
Okay, great.
Not to confuse you.
Then pena minumpo di lanza jako giana pena depression giana ni minumpo kirang di chana chala manjo pena gobolu malo gobolu julo jomache ni dambo kirang nuchogi semkari pala then ani chela kirang nang chojo ani kirang sempala ni kirang lapsha japo peranso nang chola yung tugire yana dis tuna Dena ya huyure kari kiranso kari shigore.
Okay, chitang. Na samna the insi tambu in simgur base shamba shikya se or that nanji non le jang is masu sim jang der tang ramba mama suni jang der ramba monte pena tambu and Jane is in Quinzigona. Jane Jang call a tambo in Matsudi and Toyo Mare in the summer yard. Timatoch and Jane Jang call a tambo Carsone. Tambo Nichuron in Queen, Chogum Jasena, such as an main job. In Queen opposite such a This is song go car is in a tambo in a chula. I'm set to do. Yeah, this year in just another, you know, such a call, Gomjana, in Dioma, with some way of a chance. No, the near summer, near Pardichi. Tambo Single Pashi, Shampashi Jang, Tini Goang, if I almost do some years.
So in my experience, there is no certainty. There is no, it's not mandatory that, yeah, you first go to psychologist or to therapy, and then you can come to Buddhism. Because Buddhism has so many stages of practice, has so many levels for basically everyone. For example, just giving one example in the practice of shamatha, in concentration meditation. So no needing to go look into other aspects of Buddhism, but the first thing would be for you to find a quiet place. So because usually our minds, they're so easy to be distracted, or they're so easy to be agitated in the beginning, that you need first to find a quiet place for you. You need to find a safe environment for you. And then of course, then later you can meditate anywhere you want. So my opinion is this, that there are many stages in Buddhist practice too that could accommodate different people in many stages of their life.
Check the Renini, the Lojong Tankarambania, and Lam-Rim Gushon, Emma Boyore, Lam-Rim. The Lam-Rim Sama, the Lojong. Then I think I'm Lojong, Yamazan, Lojong, Lama Susuga, Yamlenda, Susuga, Tamla Maja, don't that's Mamati, Masuga, Samlo the country, Chin, Masuita. And in Yasachi told them, some load because a condom, some load this village, similar ship their condition to it. That's also good. And a Lojon Chetan, and a Karsuta, Gomjatan, the Ramba Manjava. They only tea, Yamyon the Chisha. That is also Solian. Kashila Lojon Sijama, Pento and Gore, Kashina and Shamba, Pento. But it's not so young. Touch it and dig a pingrelana, me, Mandra, which upper pedo, Montenegro, then a page in Nile. Pay and Tondachilla, pay Mandra, pay chick social hunting, don't know the quail and don't store. You need a woman series.
And also, I think it's possible because people, they're very, very different. They're very different, many different situations, different experiences. So there are many advices in Buddhism, many of this set of texts of the Lam-Rim, and also of the mind training. For example, the 8 verses on mind training. And there are many of these small little texts that were composed by teachers based on their experiences and on how to think, how to bring about happiness. And some people, they can read these small texts. They can again get in contact with some advices of some teachers. And because of something in their background, they can like this, and this can also be beneficial for them. So this can also happen. Yeah.
Yeah. When I check the same like stress, the anxiety, the basic chimuyong, and check and then Nimarelaya, chick, and Cassit Chona, and Magics Gando, Susoriana. Trouble trauma in a Jabayomari. I shot the and social issue in Tokoyana. Not in this Antone, the chip, some load the tears, and they want the mantra. Come on, as we some load up in a chick similar stress and anxiety. Didn't you want Shikchumbo? Yes, so which you began to Gugayana, Gugenda. They might the energy that you honey that chokes in the dark. Chilling damning beyond the lapcham drawing Gora, the near Chona and the Gore. They might also talk to more or to in this and into it. In this, I like imagine come a chicks in the internet. See, come a chick, come a and go so some location, but nobody did gone was cheated. Indeed, I'm actually calling but I'm going on serious.
And also many times what can happen is let's say someone has very, very strong stress or very strong anxiety in one day. And many times if the person if the person has a teacher, then it can be a teacher, but even if it's not related to Buddhism or it can be a friend that gives an advice, then sometimes if the person goes and talks and at least for 1 minute or maybe even 5 minutes, at least for 5 minutes that the person is listening to that advice, the thoughts that were coming before, they stop coming for 5 minutes, they give a break to the person. And this gradually, this also can bring benefit to the person with these advices and relationship with teachers, if not teachers, friends, or anything.
Yep. I mean,
Okay. So you had a second question you want to do it now?
Really?
Three? You had
Yeah, one question was like, are the non-virtues the same as the ethical conduct in Buddhism? Because they have rules for the mind as well. And I always thought that's the same like the ethical conduct, but now he said there's no rules for the mind.
which rules for the mind, sorry?
The 10 non-virtues.
Okay.
They have 3 rules for the mind, and he just said there's no rules for the mind. So is it something different? Like,
Ni pera mi gyawa chula ni gyu nga sem yi sum yore rewa mi gyawa chula me. Ni nam kirang wala kirang tim yi la tim yomare. Pina yomare ni tim reba. Ni sabda
the team mare.
tim mare das.
Mugia chesya the team kacha mare.
Das.
Tanda mugia chesya so the chu no chu ina da kata chulu gani kole mugia se tanya shi tanjore. Mugia
Mi gyawa.
Yo ta mugia se the just name. Ni tanjo me samre. Donda karasungati chuti na samlo chun. Indi ani mugia chu na le ya. Ani indi le kanto telia chena. Ani TV ani sosole no chigre mi mambo shambala ya no chigres pento kumare no yores er tonda teres ina tatele min kartare ko magevas mis tanjur.
So the 10 on virtues, they are not considered to be rules. They're not rules. They're just a name. They call non-virtues. The 10 non-virtues, just a name that we give to actions that were considered to be, okay, if you do this, then it can harm you and it can harm also other people. So these actions, we give them the name of non-virtue, but they're not rules. They're not like forbidden to do these things.
so which one are the rules he's talking about?
And Kim took it.
Ana lingake ani leda ngale ya ani ta chik sanje ma domba ani ta geno ina de so ina tumni jan ho chi de so de ni leda ngale ya tum senjo re ma do tim do ta tim so domba Chandum de Uncle is a lost rate, and that's social target bombas. So target bombas. What is a team was over that chick? Yata Tombas, the team was this on Jay Chapas. Oh dear.
So yes, so this when I say rules of the Buddha, I'm referring to the vows. So for example, if you're a lay person, you have your vows. If you're a monk, also you have all the vows of a monk. And also you can consider the Bodhisattva vows, etc. These are the rules. When he says rules, it's the vows. Yeah, you're allowed or you're not allowed to do.
What is so the Yika Kachamare, Yelaya Chim Soyamari, Timness, Benata, and a Yuki Contaki, name of your children assumed. Nothing, no sim long does it. It's so bad, Takaro. They indeed some long corner. Any social any that she calls her pacha members counter. Any social and the mamba tea to Jibalia, Nichi Dibia Chunkumari Central. And Mishamba Mambo Shilena TV, no tigres, Tinga Solo motor and children, motor change your mother, Chet and a tig on a Tim Kashamaris.
Yes, so these are the rules, and they're not set upon the thoughts or the mind, so they're body and speech. And for example, from the 10 on virtues, you have the covetousness and the wrong view, and another one. And the harmful intent. So this they are introduced to the person and they say so nothing good can come out of these three, but it's not a rule that you're forbidden now to have wrong view or you're forbidden now to have these three ones. Yeah.
But does that then mean that before we have taken vows, we are not even on the path he was talking about? Because when we need to take the vows to follow this, to build the road, does it mean when we don't take the vows, like we can't do it?
Non va machung online, ingana su chimkyo ne mepa. Jaborebe, ingana su don't buy you, you ingorebe.
Ole. It's the Sutram may say Mari, Sutram or Chugre, Choro Tambodi, Choron Geva say a ton, Dikba say Tanya Chuni Marco one tongue, Choron think only one Marco one tongue.
And go on tongue.
Because the Tigon them, when a Dikba that gave us a machine, Tanya Minta machine, and the modern Tambo changes the water. Indeed, and the Lojon Manu and Mola. When you change one like Jono, send by Kulu Zama. Mil Pintoya, and the Chichansi Mashia, Tindu and the Chun Ranjing, Chun Situm Yores. Situm said the tiny Tanjosh. Mean Tanjoshman, don't know it's Situm Yores.
Yeah, no.
In the Chicken Tombashi Nanguay Omare.
No, we cannot say this. Even before you have studied, even before you have heard of the name, virtues, negativity, sin, or anything like this. If your actions, they are in accordance with your actions, they're very gentle, equanimous mind, and you're not harming others, you're benefiting others, then, yeah, even if you don't have never heard of vows, you have never heard of these names, then you have training of ethics, you have ethics.
Yeah, then the Chudum Zayat, you are like Chudum Tanishi Guayomare. Chudum Zayat is Kansat, Michil Chudum Yola. Situm Tanishi go Maritelo Young Guayomar. Donda de Yona, Tani Samia Kitchum Consumer.
To have the training of ethics, you don't need to have heard the word training in ethics. You don't need to have heard the word morality. But you need the meaning of this word. You need to have this in your mind. If you have the meaning of this, then you have ethics, even if you have never heard of this word.
In a Junzet. Junzet. I mean, Zumashia said, Zumasia the Karima Chunimako won the town there. Junon Zumasani Mishigi. The Kashashina Yapomandusam, Savlo to you. You know, the Zunze Tani Chunahamakun and Chibarkan Yomare. And did Zishina Yapomandu Susan Samlo, Milian Chikia, Minu Parilia, Zumata Shetin in the Kunyama to do race and some water. Tinting Samlo Yona, Tarana Churan Zinshio Mare, Churan tea and Pintoyos.
For example, let's say someone that never heard the word lying, has no idea what is lying, what it means to lie. But he sees that two people, maybe someone says something that's not true, or if he understands a bit the dynamics that this brings about suffering at the end, he just understands the dynamics, never heard the word lie, he has this not lying, he has this quality of not lying anyway, even if never having heard of this training or this precepts.
Donda Terita, Donda Kishishu, the Donda, the Oak, Tanya Samda, called means Samra.
The most important is the meaning. Whatever name you give to it, that's the least important.
Benamazo, that shouldn't say to call it, then I think champagnes, champagne, and a chamba the new cheese. So Conan Wayne is sick. Reki Lojon Chair, Chijuat, good and the subject. That the Yaji Tayala, and the co any chilling dramadag, Shetan Gore, choose a tiny manget, so Shetan your children. Chamba the Ninji to Yaji Tayana. In Chamba the Ninja is a tiny machine. Dondala tea, some of the Yajitan, the Karina Yonchu, Pento Chishu, Kitchishu.
And for example, just like this, also many other topics like the altruistic mind, the mind benefiting others, compassion, the great compassion, love. These are all names. And the meaning of these things, many other religions, for example, they're also going to explain about this. They're going to talk about how to develop these things. And what actually matters is the actual development of these qualities. So that's the important thing.
Yeah, chicken chili mandra, don't that chip by Baconchina, me mandra, tayo secret. And I jump under the chewing, me jump down at the Javayo. Don't that tea, yaji, the logion chair. And the pentoyana,
For example, many religions, maybe sometimes they're going to say exactly the same meaning, same advice, but they're not going to call love love. Maybe they call something else. It doesn't matter. The main thing is the result.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was one of my first questions, because he talked about different teachers. And I've seen so many teachers that interpret, for example, this 5 vows in completely different ways. I was recently told that they interpret, like I took refuge with Jitsuma Tenzin Palmo, and someone just told me that what she taught me about this is completely wrong. So that is confusing. How do we know which ones are right, like which way to follow, especially if we listen to different teachers?
아니 나 거기 그냥 남인자라 된 거래. 아니 공기 냠냠가 this 그리 confusing 저거래. 그래서 이게 딜러 기래 아니 이게 셰바 딜러 기래 그냥 공 진짜 텐션 범어나 겸조 슈 아니 제라기 지고 공 겸조 동거 콜라디 겸조 콜라 키랑 랍당 야포 요마레 랍송 아니 이 컨테스 그리 밸런스 셰거래.
네.
이렇게랑 몰라 키랑
다 됐던다 데리다. 아니 맞죠. 아니 이런 되게 인간에 주시다 사이 좋아. 돈도 가르잖아. 아니 베지잖아. 베지자. 베지 장난데 야서. 왜는 소소 로경데 베게니 직접이 찍이나 대당보 아니 대고리야 시당 찍대야 보시 소소 고여다. 여긴 직산이니 고기 시당 소소리야 보시 심래. 야 대정의 잠바지 시행나 대람사 소소들이 안죽던 적만도 아니 그래서 뒤니 작은 작은 세 총들지에 런경질이에요 그래 직접 니네 가려서나 야 시당 먼저 하고서나 이 저자치가 시당 먼저 하고나 소소에네 배나 직잘아진 연조에나 초직니 따왔잖아요 초샴바 디샴바 샴바 따타나 잘라티 여기까지야 네 잘라티 좀 매번 루세나 카드 좀만 번이 로용래도 된다고 싸우러 당하는 거랬어 직직로 직 그다 당보디 직접
So for example, what usually let's say you're studying one topic of anything. So let's say you're studying a book, and then so first it's advised to understand well what this book is saying, understand well what certain teacher is telling you about this topic. And then if you go to someone else, then you can they have different ways of explaining different words, everything. So then you're able to compare. Then you can compare these two different systems of thoughts in the same way, and then it's beneficial in the same way as when you go, for example, buy a glass. So you look at this side, you look at this side, this side, and then you can have a full realization of whether you should or not buy this glass. But then it continues.
Yeah. 돈다 찍거래잖아 단다 아니 걸어왔다 그게 찍사니 소소로 용 가르라잖아 소소가 대산이 추세나다 추시나 주마이별로 용 가르라나 소소를 펜도는 저지시 되리스 미샴바지 가르라 말랍세테 드레처 말 더 코산이 대 소소로 용 돼야 돼 저지시 진짜 오 미샴바살이야 손들지
되게 신기하잖아.
어디니 아니 미션바사니 양 직산이 로경 직단다 아니 다 캠로 코리나도 캠로 랍차이나도 고시동 양 수술 같이 배요. 저지시들. 다디니야 그게 샴바고요. 시동 담으라 용세요. 시동 담으라 용세야데 논조에 사울탄에 저니 구마리. 가르잖아. 사울탄 담으라. 아니 냠랭게 콜소소 냠냠문다. the one so so less all on the subject coaching to some solid on the
And also in the sense, if you're getting studies from a teacher, if you're getting advices from a teacher, if you're studying something, then you need to say, is this being beneficial for my mind? Is this good for me? And then if you say, okay, this is beneficial, this is good, then that's what should be your main way of determining whether you should keep going. It doesn't matter if someone is going to say this, other people are going to say this, people are going to say, oh no, you should go this way, that way. If you know that's beneficial, then you consider this to be something precious for you. And then if you go to another teacher too, and the teacher says something else, it's not good to think that, okay, this teacher is wrong. This is a wrong teaching, etc. It's not good to have this kind of thoughts. So you think, okay, this is a different way of explaining this, different background, different subject maybe, or different experiences, different system of thought, but not thinking that it's wrong. And then you can compare also the teachings, and then it can also be beneficial, thinking that it's a different way of explaining.
And some sort of Korean word, Penamasu, Gagani over Chasha, Gagani de Ane share Joshite, Toby the chick. In the end, chick the bear, tap the shoe garnish, bent all the bear, tap the garnish, Shamba the bear, tapo, chick Junicoma to Shungan on the chick and all the chick Goram Menjon, so on it. Taina, take a reason. So nyam the so shit hungry. Chick, some careers in me, Geshe cars. She come be show, pick up what the water, paint water. Tindishana young go me chinky. Go me chinky. As no coach chew in a tune on karaoke, but Tanya and the Tarante pitch town, Mother Tilimanch, de la Woko de Wondashina, go me chinky. The Korang Tower, could they not your rely on Quentin Sayor? Young chick the young tabo machishi, then I am Magangayor. That is so young also. Then a young shetangi, Tamlam Mandrashingro, teach an young, yeah, that is so.
And then also, for example, let's say you're studying a topic, and with there are two teachers, and one of them it's very easy to listen to, easy to understand, and the other one is very hard to understand. And maybe because of, they have different experiences, they have maybe different backgrounds, different way of saying. And then, for example, some teachers, they don't like so much to say things in a very easy way, or to use many examples. They follow a more traditional or maybe more academic way. And you cannot say that's wrong. These teachers, they have reasons to teach in this way, and then other teachers, and then some people are going to like this teacher, some people are not going to like these teachers, or they're not going to be able to understand from some teachers. And
Tindo was it?
Was it mentioned your question?
Yes, but there's also like there's a point where people tell me that there's things that like I until now decided to like go for what makes sense. Like the teacher told me, in my mind it makes sense like this. But they said, yeah, but you're just a human, so you can't know the things. So we have to listen to a higher teacher that knows better. So there was, for example, the discussion about Tsering wrote about the sexual misconduct rules. And there's this rules about like not having sex in the wrong holes, while like, for example, for gay people, there is only the option to go for the wrong holes. So that was like the discussion, but this person said like, yeah, but Tsongkhapa is the highest teacher, he knows it from the Buddha. So even if we don't understand, like Jetsuma told us, the idea about the rules is to not harm other beings. And for me, I think like if two people, like two men have sex with each other and they both agree on it, no one is harmed, so it would be fine. But he said like, no, in this case, it's still not fine because we don't understand the deeper meaning of it, something like that. That is confusing.
아니 그럼 고치성에 그런데 sorry, what did you say before? Before you were saying about sexual misconduct, you were saying, yeah, I got. Benami kaşık ngala dilla gire bena kiran susu giore. Bena bir kiran shit tukimare. Kiran genaya kiran shit tukimare. Bena jirin poche lo yem kala song song ani tim kaşık double song song ani bena kiran bena ya di poche tana bena ka poche tana di dikpare ani mo di kiran shit tukimare bena di en sound di kei mi yore ani karan so di şey gore ani Model cliente to be mare, and mission paladino pace mare, in a meeting alla di loxoni di na jet je chimpace mi tofore, topo tofore per papa giapore ani, con la gimsiere che erano care che erano hakot to be mare, che erano su giovore, che scelto be mare, con la con i gimsiere, in alla ti siamo confusing chicken.
re tati so te so kane la we ena ene so no ka so tati de ro re ena ani chochi ni ma so ani dawa ndului nam jak se shi gore ta chi tim da ani chu ge non da zo da ani ti su ti te no tim zo no se ta yu ta ti la tu ko re se tin ji yang she tong chi gore yu ta ti wang ge ko li yang ani tim shi ani ko re se ti nam ji she tong ji yore te on de sama yu ta ti wang ge jo tang gore se na yu si ma re ko tsawi ko na ani ko na tsawa ge ni ka so ta chi tsawa shi se ya no ti su ti ko na yang yu ta ti wang this is it. Coir the Tiong and Joas Kachin and the Vitam Kashi, Tangashi Land. You know, Jim, which any Amaboji Tumla Tunish, you the Tila Tunish Agoya, Nama Sanji, Shashi, Kala Son Shamambush. They sang the Tilian test in Joa Matana, you the Tila Tuni, Joa Matana, and a Quajuatane and Koshu Dini, go down at Tom Choyad or Romero. You're the dealer tuni, teacher, Nama with teacher that Tandi teacher mare, Nama Yurta, and some Yunta mare, you don't union gun mare. You won't get young, Dimka, Timkashi, Koya, and Tindiga, and Nama pay, Lombatele pay to Chowder, Karin, pay Apomisashina. There's only a call, she wish you would in manner, not take a show under any Kazara. Nenga chumishu kan chagu mares. Taina kundawa tsawi chum kashi umar. Tusu tini jawa tangse kashi mares. Ko ado kiyo ngochen yang ko tsama ngama nangshi chego sena ti ngarang yana kene ged mares.
Kengi mares.
Ngama nangshi petomba jeshi kan nangshi ke tsama ti chiki yung gore sena ko yuda ti yung yung mares. Tili ani ndawa te yuda ti la tini shangse ko tahanga shetong yung gores. Mama shit, Cortan, Kibatsu Song Jine.
Nidin lo yem la di.
On Dindi Wangi, Takoyan, and you the deal one game. Koyang, and he Kazako, Naman in the pair, and you can do the pair. Yabo Matse, picture shoots at there, consume. So there it a call, take and then got car resumed. Cup the D ruina.
So from one side, when the Buddha said the Vinaya rules, so the rules for the monks and the vows, so they are always related to place and time. So there are many things that because place and time it changes, there are many things that are to be considered as very bad or very important points in the rules, depending on the place and the time. And some of the rules, they change in importance, or they change in how important of a point it is, depending on the place and the time. So for example, with this sexual misconduct rules, and depending on the place and in the time of the Buddha, they were considered to be something very, very unethical. They were something very scandalous if someone would practice this, and this can also change with time and the place, the importance of these rules. And this only applies to some rules, not the root ones, not the foundations of the training. Only to some rules we can apply this analysis of place and time, right?
Yeah, continue to one game chick. Tanga to ni so year that gotcha go, and got to car to when to set. The baits are chungush. And any cigarettes here that dear one gay. Going Geshe Gatamba in Rotoko Resena, Dromatoya. Go year kwank. But they aren't cheer and shit on
So then, yeah, it's very important also to always also analyze the place and the time to see what's an important point of this ethical training.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Right?
Thank you.
Another question? No? Do we continue?
Oh, shall we bet?
Huh?
Shall we continue to be?
Shayan 식상그래서 나 그런 거하다 너기견 순봉 야 네. 나들이 주시나 딩거랑 서야 제가 서파상.
Yeah. Maybe stop here.
Yeah, we were going to change the topic now. We're going to the next topic, so because we only have a few minutes. So yeah, if you have any other question.
Maybe I did one question.
Okay, nice.
If it's like important to follow the order of like ethics and concentration with them, or is it like really small in the middle school, like in the Lam-Rim, that you could actually practice all of them, or is it really important to follow the order?
Karim di pena pangaran so di chutim tingin sin shirabing jimi chidinda jatang di dinda jogare na yung pangaran so yung Lam-Rim la gebu chunga gebu tinga gebu chewa ngaran so nyamdu nyamim cheyore rewa de labasum dinda yang rebe nyamdu nyamim che
Nyamd the che yungre. In China, the Karsmoyers. Tambo of Jang Che, Kablam was in Yam the Siash. Tambo training Tambo Susuch. Yamne Tambo Che Kablea, Tambo Karan was Lelawas in Gonsico. Tambo start Cheset.
yeah
Lelawash, Tambo Karazonde, Tambo Susu. She Zun Mashias, yes, they stopped the ore. Since she go, she was a Katina shouldn't add any money. And touching knock the number Jersey. Knock gone in to so come to the Tinny league gone into so come to the Tinny and a quarter beach in it, any you could gone in the Casito Chetona. Tinny coin, Tinny she needs some low gani. Some no necessary, Tinny Tangins. Tambo Janka. Chimana Konyam de Yorinkatina.
So these three trainings, they are practiced together: ethics, concentration, and wisdom. But at the beginning, when we were starting to practice them, then it's an easy way to go is with this order. For example, it's much easier to develop wisdom about something is not lying. So we start trying not to lie, and we start trying to control how our body acts, where we place our body, what we say. And then with this, then it becomes easier to also to control the mind, what thoughts. If you control what comes through the senses, you can control what comes to your mind easier. And then with this, it becomes easier to practice concentration and etc. Yeah, after we're more stable in these three trainings, then we practice them together. But it's just an easy way to follow this order in the beginning.
Yeah, to do that. Benatambo was a Mazu Samla Mancha. na wambonga di jili shodo ora so you gonna got it to ben nyama chile na ko tindi want someone dam the mando so some tombo to katse jichiga es nyar to window jichizim to de wambonga de yela mando wa tindi chetona tindi shini so samlo tes 나를 그토이로 디니시니 다 야지 가도 삼나데 야이죠 디네로 오시래.
For example, usually many of our thoughts in our day, they come from our five senses, whatever we're seeing, whatever we're hearing, whatever we have smelled, and so in the beginning it's easier for us to be careful with this, what we see and etc. And then we can find more refuge in our thoughts. Find more refuge, more independence in our mind, because it's not going always through those five senses. And then with this, when you have time with your mind, when you feel like you don't have to go all the time to your five senses, then it's much easier to do something with this, and that would be concentration, for example. So first giving more attention, maybe more focus to controlling your five senses.
Yeah.
Yes. I got distracted by an umbrella outside.
Well said.
Okay.
Okay, so we live here. Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
그런 따따라서 니 빙그런 저 직선 오빠 너 너기 경숨